Assassination Classroom, Season 2, Episode 23. Sometimes you do have to fight. Sometimes it's worth fighting. Protect the kids. And to save our first student, who's seen better days. Are we seeing his face now? I love the sound design for Reaper 2. And bright, happy opening. This is a tough balance to fight. I've been obsessed lately, in sort of a ridiculous way, because of how simple it seems, which is about accepting the things you can't change, conquering the things you can change, and being able to know the difference between the two things. I think it starts to get more interesting away from just looking at the saying, and instead trying to categorize each thing I'm thinking about into one of those areas. So like, there's a lot of time spent on anxieties that are just not controllable, and they just have to be let go. A great example is regrets. There's nothing that can be done about the past. It's a dead end. It's an energetic black hole. There's nothing that can be done about facts of one's life so far. Then there's territory where it's like, maybe there's something that can be done, but the way you're thinking about it, the way you're spending energy on it, the way you're approaching it, has no connection whatsoever to action and is just like negative sentiment in what feels like a direction, but actually it's just going into that same black hole and dying, and that's the end of it. Complaining about the state of society, being really angry about something that's happening somewhere else, getting cynical about society so terrible, or drawing very dramatic conclusions like society hates me. None of these are anything that feed into direct life influence in an actionable way. And even if they are influenceable, the question is, are you even influencing them? Or are you just driving yourself crazy with them? It's tricky, and you realize this is not obvious when you realize how much it feels sometimes like you are when actually you aren't. And there's nothing being changed. There's nothing being done. There's nothing being improved. Then there's a whole other category of things that actually are in your hands right now that you actually could do. There's about a billion ways any one person can take action that will improve things, at least for themselves and their immediate surroundings and community. And funnily enough, those actually might be the best ways to at least start out improving things in the world. And so maybe it's when you identify those things, or when they land on your lap, or they're right in front of you and this affects you and there's something you can do, then that's the time to fight for it. 23rd period, final boss time. In the dome. What a dramatic location too. Remember when we thought we could kill him? They can sense that. That's impressive. Well, I mean, that makes it look obvious, but I get the feeling he's losing a little bit of ground right now. Wait, what about this dude? Kids need to spring into action to fight the scientist dude. Maybe the way to beat him is not with power, but by seeing his true face. You've done so well. You're amazing. You were amazing before this weird thing that you did that made you look like this. Yeah, this is where it's going, isn't it? We're flashing back.
本気かい？私が今殺したのは君の父親だよ。関係ないです。父を殺したあなたを見てはっきりしました。
Jesus, you do everything for your kids. You give them a great life. You work your fingers to the bone to provide for them and give them a life that you never had and no one else had, or most people will never dream of. He's like, this sucks. You know, it'd be great if you died. This is what I really want. To give this little crazy kid the benefit of the doubt. My theory is that it's rarely about the thing you're fixated on, but the way that thing is hitting you as to what it means. That will probably correlate with something that is a very important area of exploration or growth that is maybe now in a deficit. So what it might be for him is he's just so pampered and ineffectual. There's nothing that needs to be done, nothing to prove, no way to challenge himself or climb or scale in this world that's already been solved for him. He's living in a nice little comfortable cushioned bubble that wasn't of his own making. But look at that. There's something that came in and made that all seem pretty useless. What good is it if you're dead? And it's something we can climb. I really think a lot of these things just come down to respect of competency. That underlies so many things that are appealing in characters. It's just competency. It's being able to do things well and being able to affect one's life in a way where one feels autonomy and a sense of self-reliance. Right, I think it would have been by recognizing what was pure and fundamental about that spirit that was not the assassination element of it. Even if it's super cold, just forgetting instantly about his father who was murdered in front of his eyes. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It definitely feels that way, but it depends on what scale you're evaluating it on. Also, I'll allow you to go into this valley for a little while, and then you gotta climb your way up the mountain and do something. Support really is going to be the answer, probably. Take out him. He needs to be taken out. He's everything we always believed in and looked up to. I don't need you, though. You were never my student, I never liked you, so goodbye.
君に立ち入る資格はない
I agree. I mean, I think at the highest form of thinking about it, he too deserves to be saved, but there is not a single iota of evidence that that is something he would be open to or would want or is capable of, which doesn't mean he has to be killed, but he doesn't need to be here right now.
わからないか
Because the students are here. What the hell is what? Wait, that looked terrible. That looked way worse than I think it actually was. Okay, of course, since I got in there and protected him at his own expense. 教師の鏡だな、モルモ This is a huge weakness. Quickly. There's only so much of this he can take.
なんて暗くたぎった情念なの
He's not a nice dude.
この世で一番強い情念は愛をめぐって生まれた殺意ターゲットの心も体も
I don't think that love is the right word there, but I get what you mean. Substituting the word love there for that sort of like very primal sexual attraction and mating type thing, I agree that maybe that is one of the most visceral corrupting forces there is. There's definitely a murderous element of that that's like just latent. We talk a lot about natural selection, but sexual selection, also an extremely powerful force, especially for someone so arrogant, so egotistical, so wrathful, who acts like he's some sort of king, to have his fiancée just stolen away under his nose by somebody considered inferior. Good God. We need a plan now. I know it's so much to ask, but... Oh, thank God, an adult. You hate to see it. Yeah. This is not the way we want to assassinate our teacher.
コロ先生の最大の弱点それは僕ら
Assassination Classroom. It depends on how you look at it, and also, yeah, it's not right. It's not true. They did. They went to space in one episode. Process. I love how they keep saying process. 全員が私の誇れる生徒です。それに生徒を守るのは教師の当たり前。That is really what it is, right? I keep coming back to Koro-sensei's choice with Kano's sister. It's something like the question of what is the value scale at the deepest level, which I think will map somewhat similarly to something like self-centeredness versus service or generosity or something like that. At one end of the scale, it's maximizing our success and achievements in things that are most tightly linked to those things that are hardwired in us for the things that have always been associated with survival, whether that is based on natural or sexual selection. So like security in my immediate environment, attainment of resources, the quality of mate and or the quantity of mates I can acquire in my life, and not to even judge these things as bad necessarily because they're kind of like staples of existence. But one of the most beautiful breakout things about humanity is we've developed abilities to think beyond those immediate things and abstract to what things mean greater than just the immediate moment for just us. So if we just take for granted that human life has value, because anyway we're already assuming that our lives have value and our offspring's lives have value, well then that's not just me, that's everyone. And not just my offspring, but everyone's offspring. And not just now in this moment, but across time. And that changes the assessment a little bit because suddenly the best thing isn't winning over people now, conquering people now so I have the highest chances of surviving in the most enjoyable, fruitful way for me and my lineage. And instead, the very long game of living in such a way that maximizes the yield of everything in that way. And instead of seeing this as a game to win now in my lifetime, seeing it more as a set of guidelines or a bigger fire that I can be a torch for or a participant in to form like a collective whole towards that purpose in the best possible way that I can. And sometimes those two things overlap, right? Like sometimes living in a great way for yourself, getting all the things you need taken care of is the best thing for that because if your immediate needs are met, let's say, and you're not busy fighting off proverbial wolves at the door, well, you have more resources you can expend to thinking about like, well, maybe I can help this person in my community, or maybe I can do this thing over here that may be beneficial to me also, but like taps into this other area of benefit for not just me. So they're not mutually exclusive, but by allowing that focus, I guess at the very least, it becomes more clear that certain things that are tactics or means to win the first game actually are counterproductive to the longer game. And interestingly, I think this actually maps quite well with the deliberation of being results-oriented versus process-oriented. Results-oriented is sort of like this game, this limited game now. I want to just maximize this quantifiable number or whatever. I want to have the most money or, the most girlfriends. Whereas process is more like, I want to do things in the right way so that if everyone were to do things in the same way, this would give the best chance and the best possible life I can envision to the greatest greatest number of people now and all time. And process versus results, I think, is very tied in to Koro-sensei's whole thing across all spectrums of that analysis. That reveals itself in his teaching methodology. But I think that's not an accident that comes on the heels of that sort of nihilistic everything for me versus what good is my power to destroy everything if I'm not helping people or I'm not using it for good things type thinking. So in this deliberation, it is weakness, right? It is weakness to have to protect the students. If the main ultimate goal is being the most powerful being now on the planet and being able to step on all of your enemies and feel the sweet, sweet, sick joy of watching people you hate suffer and laughing at them as they bleed, yeah, then the students are a weakness. But if you are thinking about like, these are kids who are beautiful and they will have kids who are beautiful and they will have kids who are beautiful. And elsewhere out in the world, there are a lot of people, flawed as they may be, who have the same potential for beauty and will have kids that will be beautiful on and on into, for our purposes, infinity. Then the best possible thing, the best possible action is to love and protect that beauty, even if that comes at the expense of victory in this very specific domain. And at the furthest extreme, maybe even at the cost of my own life. And what I love about this, what's so cool, is that for so much of my life, I heard idealism and pragmatism defined as opposites. But when you really think about it and you think about what's behind it, the good of everyone, not just now, but for all of human existence to come, it actually maybe turns out to be the most pragmatic thing. The reason idealism has any value at all is because it is the most pragmatic. What people often mean when they say pragmatism is good for me now. Like something as simple as just telling the truth. Let's say you've uncovered something and you know people will hate you for thinking this way, but you've uncovered it. You say, well, I better just lie because in some cases, you just gotta be pragmatic. No, what actually is the best outcome is you start spreading the truth even at your own expense. What you really mean is this would be bad for you, and that's probably true. But maybe the twist is that like, we're not the highest ideal. You know, our comfort and our satisfaction and our ease of life and our happiness, as much as we obsess about it, is maybe not the highest good. It's great when it can happen. And I'm not saying it's unimportant, but the scale is totally different. And I think intuitively we know this. We just don't articulate it. That's why we love Koro-sensei and other characters like him.
そこまでして守った生徒も俺の手で全員殴り殺す。お前が我々の人生を破壊してまで手に入れた1年。その全てが無
Deeply
駄だったと
personal
否定
revenge,
してやる。
pure hatred.
可愛い生徒。バカ。なんで？逃げてから先生。
By herself? I hope he's also allergic to BBs. I don't know if you alone can take him. Oh, he is allergic. We discovered it. That's great. This is great news. Okay, she can do it. She can do it. Maybe also, he can too.
ずっと後悔してた。
Some redemption, yeah.
私のせいでみんなが真実を知っちゃったこと。
I mean, thank you, honestly.
クラスの楽しい時間を奪っちゃった。
Are you kidding? You enhanced it. I feel like the show actually really, really kicked it into high gear from that arc on. Nothing to feel bad about, but you can be in service. Okay, Gladiator. Joaquin Phoenix over here.
やればできる。そう教えてくれたのはお姉ちゃんと先生だから。
Oh no! No, this did not go well. Wait, but technical users can heal? I'm in denial. I choose denial. This can't be real. He laughs.
本当に迷惑な奴らだな。
Ritsu, Ritsu can't heal her, can't she? Oh, I think you've made a big mistake in so many ways. Yeah. Koro-sensei also looking at his previous self, and another time he couldn't protect someone. This is a final test for Koro-sensei in a very sad way. He still has to retain control. You're gonna juice him up some more? How much can we juice? Yeah, I mean honestly, I want you guys to help, but the best thing you do is leave this Koro-sensei, honestly, probably. Yeah. The body retreats, the spirit does not. I still haven't watched that movie. I got that line from a trailer, and I love it so much, I should really watch it. Retreating is not the same thing as running away spiritually. Removing yourself from a location is not necessarily cowardice. There are two different areas of analysis. I don't doubt the kid's heart and willingness to stay and fight, but it just doesn't make any sense right now. Hellish for you and only you, really, because of who you are. I like how they remove themselves 10 feet away.
やはり黒い触手。
違う。黄色だ。
It's all the colors. It's a rainbow. Rainbow Sensei.
全ての感情を、全ての過去を、全ての命を、
Oh man, the colors
全
thing.
て混ぜて、
I didn't think about it that way. That's interesting.
せめて安らかな卒業を。
Yeah, he harnessed it. He didn't lose control. He made the choice again.
まずい、今触手だけを溶かされてしまった。
He's a counter to himself. Koro Sensei assassinating himself. The scientists just die. It was such a like anticlimactic fizzle. He just psst, like a fly flying into a light. Oh, okay. Well, good.
いや、このままで
Oh, a little praise.
いいセンスだよ。私よりうまい。
You saw his face, and it was full of flowers.
あの笑顔が見えていれば、彼を全く違う人生に導けていたのかもしれない。
Yeah, well, he didn't know it himself at that point. Sad. Terrible.
あんたに認めてほしかった。あんたみたいになりたかった。
He was better
今なら
than
君の
us
気持ちがよくわかります。
in that goal.
二人で勉強しましょう。お互いに同じ間違いをしないように。
Some acknowledgement. I guess there was no saving him.
誰も
It's not a happy moment. Yeah. It's not the usual last boss victory. It's a huge cost, big price to pay.
過去を教訓に繰り返さないことはできます。
Oh, is he gonna oh no, he might sacrifice his life for her.
茅野さんの血液や体細胞です。
Oh, what? You just had that? Where did you have
地面に落
that?
ちる前に全て拾い
Oh my god. That's great news.
保管しておきました。
I'm so happy to hear that.
戦いに使わずに温存していましたから。
He was fighting at a handicap.
今から一つ一つ全ての細胞をつな
He
ぎ
gets a chance to save.
ずっと能力を高めてきました。あの時と同じことがあったとしても
He remembered.
同じ悲劇には絶対進まいと。修復できない細胞もあるので均等に
They can fill themselves in.
先生の粘液で
Or fill him in with Koro Sensei mucus.
中村さん、さっきのバース
And it's sugar, yeah, yeah.
先生の口に
Wow, that cake was clutch.
土まみれでぐっちゃぐちゃの
Look,
生首だけど
we do what we have to.
あとは心臓が
Honestly, if he can do this, he needs to be doing this. Imagine what he can do for the world.
対処マニュアル通り
He wrote a manual.
たとえ君たちの体がバラバラにされても蘇生できるように備えていました。
Okay, that actually adds some context to some of the other things, like putting them in danger. Knowing he could have just put them back together piece by piece at any time. You could say that this also demands kind of an explanation as to how he's putting people's cells back together piece by piece. But they were safe the whole time. I've actually heard this mentioned as a parenting technique, like giving your kids the hardest, most difficult challenge you think they can handle with zero danger while always supervising them. Because they feel like it's a big deal and they have to learn and grow and face challenges, but you're always there preventing them from falling.
先生がその場にいさえすれば
That's a big if, unfortunately.
先生が生徒をちゃんと見てさえいれば
Her sister saved her in a way. I gotta say, as far as I can remember, that was one of the worst wounds to recovery moments I can remember.
何度でもそうしますよ。お姉さんもきっとそうしたでしょう。
She saved all of us.
大事なのは過ちを繰り返さないこと。アグリ、私は教師をうまくやれたでしょ
The
うか。
best imaginable? Oh yeah, we still have the big laser coming.
宝物のような一年の中で。
That's a beautiful shot. I like how it took until the final episode to really see, or one of the final episodes to see Koro Sensei in like real full action. I'm really happy that she's still alive, but there's something really sad about what happened to the kid, the little Reaper. I think there's some symbolism in there about the long-term process-oriented, more magnanimous version of things versus, you know, my raw power thing. In that the better process will win eventually. And over a long enough time span, that's what has power. You know, as powerful as any one person is, as great as they are, as much as they accomplish, there's still just one person in one moment of time. They're a drop of water in the ocean. The ocean will win eventually. And as a droplet of water, you can be a really good part of the ocean. I don't really know how to make that analogy land, but you're getting closer and closer to merging with the slipstream that is bigger than just your immediate self. Though, like I said, it's not always mutually exclusive. I mean, I think part of it is the journey, and oftentimes the journey starts with pursuing individual needs, and those actually can be great to pursue because of all the lessons you get out of it. It's also really great to get the things you really want, to realize that you haven't solved for the problems of your life, that you still want more things. A lot of people have the experience of already having or having obtained something that at one point you told yourself would make you complete and happy. So there's a process of experimentation that has to happen. And if you do enough reps, you do enough iterations, I think it's something like getting closer and closer to just like merging with the raw truth of like what is the better process, and that process will map somewhat closely to just what is the best ecosystem in accordance with the laws of the universe. And if you want to, you can argue deeper and say God. I think that's part of the significance of the fact that like it's all these elements of his life, it's all these different colors that come in to form white. You know, it's the amalgamation of all of these different things, including his negative things, that give him a power that it just will never be outstripped by the animalistic raw power of his former student who's stuck in that world.